Anelka, and this is going to be the first ever episode of Women's Weekly.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Aaliyah.
And so the topic is basically like each week, or every other week, we're going to talk about a different woman.
Yeah, and it's all about women empowerment.
Women empowerment is important because it makes other girls and maybe even people who are not girls, like adults, that they are recognized and appreciated and noticed for their hard work and efforts.
Yeah, and we want to talk about kind of different age groups of women. And so there's some seniors are feel like we want to talk about how maybe seniors feel about maybe Kamala Harris because she could be the first ever woman president.
Yeah, and and we the different age groups we will be talking about are seniors, middle-aged, and young women, and how their life was and what their struggles were.
And we could talk about to the seniors and the all the girls in general about how they feel about how Kamala Harris might be elected and how that might be more representing for them. Will it give them more opportunities to do stuff in the future?
Yeah, and we actually interviewed some we called our grandmas and we talked to our moms about this, and we were and a lot of them said that they had to multitask, they had to balance their work life and their home life, taking care of the kids and making sure they got fed and stuff like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And what we talked about to our grandmas is that they felt underrepresented because they wouldn't have the same chances as a man would have in the same job, in the same job area, and they wouldn't get paid as much as them. So I think it was your grandma we talked to?
Yeah, we did. We talked to our grandmas, and my grandma was talking about how she thinks that Kamala Harris is that she's a self-made woman and who works hard to get where she is and deserves the same respect as somebody else would get.
Yeah, and we also talked to my grandma and my mom, and my grandma was a director for a health department, and she thought that when she was director, she felt like it was her job to put women in managing positions so they can get a chance.
My grandma said that she feels that Kamala has integrity, and her level of integrity and accomplishment will set a higher standard for treatment and respect shown to women. And she's also Black and Asian, and so I feel that the she's a woman and she's Black and she's Asian. I feel that's really a big accomplishment because of her background.
Yeah, my mom thought that the world doesn't really accommodate people with families and women, single mothers, and in general people that have to work, especially women, because if they have children, school gets out at 3:15 or 3:16, and their job probably doesn't end till 5 or 6. So then they have to find a place for their child to go that they have to pay money for. That might be expensive.
Yeah, and I know my mom was oh Mom, do you want to watch a movie? But every time I go up into her office, she's working until 9 p.m. at night, and her work hour actually gets off at 5, but she works until 9 o'clock.
And also, Kamala Harris didn't have any biological children, so maybe maybe it was easier for her to be like where she is now because she didn't have any children to like care for.
Well, I don't know because I feel like I'm not sure when she got like biological children, but I know that like that shouldn't like be something that people are like, because I know that some people are being rude about that because she has biological children and they don't think that that's like, they say that that's not like right and that she should have real children.
My grandma talked about how women and like moms like don't get that like equal pay because like and they need money for child care because they have to work. And so like my grandma said like when her kids were younger, like she had to multitask and like take care of her husband and children, and her husband left at the beginning of the day because and then he wasn't home a lot because he was working and he was like trying to get like a degree. So but as they got elder, like they started to like work together more, and she thought that not there's not much opportunities like back then, that and sometimes still like there's not much opportunities to get like recognized. Unlike men, lady had to stay in the office and interview, while men went out and interviewed crime scenes, like where she worked once.
And I feel like we should move on to like a different like age group, like young people, because a lot of times like social media or like peers can like pressure you about like the way you look, like what you wear and things that you like, and they can like like make you feel like, even though they don't mean to, like make you feel like you shouldn't like these things or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people and young girls especially get peer pressure and get influenced by social media and the things that they see around them. If those things are good or bad, they still get influenced, which sometimes it can be good, but like sometimes, most of the times, it's not that good, and they start to feel some type of way about themselves if they're looking or thinking, or if people are telling them certain things.
Well, what I think is the good part of what you said is Starbucks. It's really good, but it takes away all your money. So now I'm spending like $30 a month on Starbucks.
Yeah, people
Yeah.
get influenced by that very easily.
Yeah, and so yeah, like some like it can make like young girls feel like insecure sometimes.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and then we can also like, and we also wanted to like talk to people about like their views on like maybe like new people who just came to Albert Leonard, and maybe like we could talk about how they how they feel, and if like their perspective on being like a girl in middle school.
Yeah, and how to cope with that, and we can also like give like say things to like help people cope with like whatever they're dealing with at that time.
Yeah, like tips. Yeah.
And also, people can be really cruel because there was this one girl, she came to our school in 6th grade and she joined my science class, and she was like really pretty and she made friends instantly. But there was this one girl that I guess wasn't pretty enough because she came into like I think it was like a social studies class. Yes, my social studies class, and she didn't make a lot of friends like instantly. Like because she was just alone most of the time.
Yeah, because like a lot of times like popular people or like pretty people like make friends because everybody's like, "Oh, you're popular? Okay, let me be friends with this person." But then if you're not, it's like, "Oh, well, I mean, yeah."
Yeah, I agree on that topic. I also think that sometimes like people just like get caught up in the wrong things, like in general, like making friends and girls, like they get caught up in the wrong things, so then they like start thinking that maybe they're not good enough, or that the people that they're hanging out needs to be like better or something.
And I remember so like there's a bunch of times where like some people feel insecure and like different age groups about women. So that was our first Women's Weekly episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. Bye, I guess.
Bye.
Bye.